Hey there, YouTube land. Today we're going to disassemble a Mitchell 308A. This is a later variant of the 308, but it's fairly similar. The only real differences are the bail design and the spool and the plastic handle nut. Outside of that, this is pretty much the same. It is still a French-made Mitchell. As you can see on the foot, it says France. Not sure how well you can see that. And it's a 1982 model. So what you'll need is a big flathead screwdriver and a small micro flathead screwdriver, or to take the side plate screw, to take the side plate off, you could just use a nickel. So let's get started. So I'm going to start by taking off the spool. And to do that, you just press this button on top, pop it off, and we'll take the handle, just back it out clockwise because they're reverse threads. And then we're going to come over to the side plate. It's just one screw. So we'll unscrew that. And get the side plate off. Sorry guys, it's just I'm trying not to knock my phone down. Let me try it with my right hand, because I'm right-handed. There we go. Okay, and as you can see, it's pretty much like your classic 308s. It's got the planetary gear system. Alright, from here, what you want to do is you want to take out this plate that has two studs on it. Hold your idler block in and your main shaft. Then you can take your main shaft out. Take your idler block out. Take your idler gear race out. And we can take the idler gear out. We should be able to. Sorry guys. There, just knock it off. And then to remove the rotor, and I explained this in my video on my 308, but just like on a standard 308, on the 308A, you do not remove the rotor nut like you do on most reels, like a 300 or a 400 or whatever. In the neck of the reel, I'm not sure how well that you'll be able to see this, there's a small flathead screw. You remove that to take the rotor out. And that's why you have to have a micro flathead screwdriver. I bought this set of precision ones off Amazon, I think last year, for just such a reason. Then you can pull your bearing out, your rotor off. Now the reason you don't remove the nut is it only holds your pinion assembly on, but if you look under the pinion gear, if my phone will focus, okay, so there we go. There's little ball bearings in there. If you pull this rotor nut off, you'll shoot bearings everywhere, and that would not be good. You could take the bail off. However, I recommend you don't unless the bail spring is broken, or obviously maybe the bail wire is broken and you need to replace it. If that's not the case, which on this one it is not, then you don't need to remove it. So now what we're going to do is, right now I have the anti-reverse on. So we're going to flip it off. That way when we take the main gear out, we don't hopefully don't accidentally pop the anti-reverse dog. Unfortunately, this time we did. And we got our thrust washer here. If you do pop it, it's not too bad to put it back in, but I don't know if I'll be able to do this on camera. So, once you've gotten this far, we just reassemble. Now, I've already cleaned and re-lubricated this reel. I'm just doing this video to demonstrate how you would get it apart. Obviously, if you're just getting it apart, then, you know, clean your parts, re-lubricate, and whatnot. So to set the spring, there's a loop, or a hump, and it goes around that peg, and the tag end goes along the, I'm trying to think of what this is called. It goes around this part where your side plate screw goes in. Let's make sure our thrust washer is centered. And you have to be kind of careful in this because you don't want to shoot that little spring because it would be very difficult to find. I'll try to do my best. So, the way I found to do it is just kind of go from a downward position and then rotate it up and then kind of flip the dog into the on position, and then that way it holds it in. Then holding it down, flip it off. That way your main gear is easier to install. And that's what your dog will look like when installed correctly. Alright, so we have our thrust washer in there. Now we can put our main gear back in. And we can put the idler gear back on. It just goes on a stud in the middle of the center of the gear, of the main gear. Like so. And then we can put the rotor back on. And we'll get that set screw back in there. And sometimes you have to lift up the rotor slightly to get it in, or started right, or seated, I should say. And we'll take our little flathead screwdriver and screw that back in. If I can get this lined up. As I said, I'm trying my best not to knock the camera or my phone down. I have it in a tripod, but during an attempt at this, I accidentally knocked it down. So now we have that back in. We'll put the idler gear race back in. So sometimes you just spin it and it'll seat right in, like so. And you can see how that moves. And then we'll put our idler gear block in, or our idler block, or oscillation block. And it's symmetrical, so you can just put it either way. Just make sure the back slot gets over that stud on the idler gear, like that. Then we can put our main shaft back in. Now note, there are 2 holes in the oscillation block, and there are 2 holes in the main shaft. So we reinsert the main shaft and make sure that those 2 holes line up. Like so, if you can see that. Take the pin, push it back in like so. And then we'll take our side plate, and there's a slight lip under the rotor. So you go in at an angle, or at an angle. Line up the screw with that hole in the post, and then tighten that screw down. You don't have to absolutely wrench this thing down, just tighten it down until it's good and snug, like so. And then we'll put our handle back on, going counterclockwise. Again, it's reverse threads. And we'll just simply slide the spool back on. There's the anti-reverse off. Flip it on. And there we go. And that is how you disassemble and reassemble a Mitchell 308A. And this process will also apply to the Classic 308 as well as the Mitchell 408. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.